Mate, how are you?
Not too bad, man. What's going on?
Oh, not much. I just got back from my daughter's Easter hat parade, and now I'm talking to you.
Adorable.
Yeah.
What is an Easter hat parade?
Well, they make Easter hats and then parade it around their school. So it's basically just a bunch of children wearing bunny ears walking around in a circle.
Adorable.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. How have you been?
Not too bad, man. Just grinding away.
Grinding away. How's the anticipation treating you now that the album is coming closer and closer to being released?
It's feeling more and more like it's going to happen, which is nice. When you kind of put all these things into plan, and then you have to wait. You're waiting for all these things to happen, and now it's kind of happening. So it feels like we're really releasing a record now, which is a nice feeling. And it's the first time that people are giving us feedback on the record because people are hearing it for the first time, and that's really nice. It's something we've been really proud of since we made it, but we haven't really had the chance to share that with many people yet. And we're really excited that that's happening.
Well, I'm glad that I can be one of those people that has heard it and can pay you compliments because it is a very easy album to compliment. You guys smashed it, basically. You took what you've already had and you created something even bigger, and yeah, so good work.
Thanks, man. I'm glad that's how you heard it as well, because it was, we just tried to make the best representation of us that we could, and I think we achieved that.
Yeah, I really, it's a progression. That is the best way to describe it. Especially coming from your last full length, coming into this sophomore album, you guys really did. You feel the pressure, I suppose, thinking now the whole sophomore slump thing is floating around with the second album?
I think the pressure came from simply our EP was quite successful for us in regards to getting a whole new audience listening to us and the radio paying attention to us. And this record, we had no intention of making like that last one. And I think that was kind of maybe like the only bit that was kind of like a bit nerve-wracking, because we approached this record in a similar way that we approached our first EP and our first record. We feel like it's kind of somewhere between all of those releases, this record, and that's at the end of the day what we were trying to achieve. We've just been experimenting up until this point, especially being a two-piece. I Freak Out was the first record that we had recorded as a two-piece with no bass guitar, and we obviously wanted to do that on this record, but we wanted to make a record. I guess having the opportunity to have 12 songs on a record, you can tell more of a story than just 6 on an EP.
Yeah.
Whereas an EP, it's just got to be like on, done. Whereas an album, you can kind of dig in and out and tell different stories in different kinds. It fits us really well because we like building songs that aren't the same song. And my favorite thing about this record is there's so many different flavors and textures on this. It kind of sonically is the best representation. It's definitely what we've been trying to achieve until this point.
I think, yeah, as you said, with the different textures, one of the additions that I'm really loving is the feature of the horns in some sections of the songs. That for me was a huge turn on, if I can use that phrase about music.
Yeah, of course. Hey, look, we've wanted to do brass on every release we've ever done, and it's always just been a matter of we've run out of time or we haven't been able to get the person we want to play on it, and this one just happened so well. And Dougie, who played trombone on it, turns out he was a fan already, which was really nice. So he got as hyped as we were that he was going to come in and record on it. So it was just really nice because for us, that's a world that we don't necessarily know. Between me and Alex, we can kind of fuck around with most instruments, but when it comes to like brass, it's in such a world of its own. It was nice to have somebody like Dougie, who's super creative and super on it, to come in and be like, here's some ideas I have, and here's some other ideas I have. Let's try this, let's try that. And it was a real pleasure, and that to me is also my favorite moment on the record. I think when the brass comes in on the last track of the record,
yeah,
it's very epic.
It is. It's unexpected, and then the epicness kicks in. You're like, yes, what a way to finish.
Yeah. Take it home, you know. You got to bring it home.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, that's the closing track rules. There's nothing worse than a boring closing track.
Yeah.
So, you've got a couple of features on this album, and I noticed that within the track listing, you haven't mentioned that, if, like, you know, let's say Happy featuring Georgia Mac, for example, it's just been released as Happy. Was there an intention to leaving the names out?
I think for us, it's not like a featuring. It's just an extra little special something that we put on the tracks. It wasn't like we sought after these people to be like, oh, if we put this person on this track, you know, like, people will pay attention to it. For us, it's like, you know, George is one of my best friends and has been for a long time. So naturally, for us wanting to have a duet-style song, it was always going to be Georgia. And George, for me, has been someone who's been such an inspiration to become better at using our platform for the better, rather than just getting by with it. So it was really nice to have Georgia come in and sing this song with me. And same with Craig from the Bennies. He came in, and we kind of knew what voice, what harmony we wanted in the song that he sings on, and he came straight to our minds, because, you know, like us and Sam, who engineered the record, he did a couple of the Bennies records. He's like, Craig has the perfect voice for this. He's got that 80s falsetto, like, I want to say hair metal, like, beautiful voice that's just going to sit so perfectly on it. And the Jeff Rosenstock one, that just kind of happened as well. He was in town, and he's good friends with Sam, who was making our record, and we've done a few shows with Jeff over the years, and Jeff just wanted to come in and see the studio, and one thing led to another, and he was having a sing, which was nice. Alex is a really big Jeff Rosenstock fan, so I think that was a big tick for him.
Definitely, especially having him wanting to sing on the song, just coming in the studio on his own accord as well.
Yeah, which was nice, and yeah, like, it's for us, it's like, we're really stoked that these people are on there, but they're not on there to try and get people to listen to the song, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I feel like when an artist does a featuring, that's kind of what they're grabbing at.
I think that's where I was trying to head with my question, but sometimes words don't work for me, says the music journalist. Okay, well, speaking about music journalism, this is a segue. You have been prominent, popping up every now and then in what shouldn't be a debate, but is, with the equality in the Australian music scene. As a dude speaking to another dude, what can I do, or what can guys do? Like, you know, this is the one chance we need to be heard to improve something. So, is there any hints, any tips, anything that you can say to the guys in the music industry, so we can,
sure,
pick
Look,
our act up?
I recently had a bit of a argument on the internet with someone who was in a quite a large band, and their attitude to me was, well, what am I meant to do? I can't do anything about this. Which is a problem. That's such a bad attitude, you know. Like, for us, like, we understand that we are a band of two white straight men, and the least like someone like us can do is the absolute least a band can do is make sure that there are diverse lineups on your shows. You know, like, there's a lot of bands out there that will preach it, but then when it comes down to it, there's still like 4 bands of all men, and it's something that you don't notice until it's pointed out to you that there is such like a difference there, and it's not about filling a quota. It's the more young people that see non-men represented on a stage, the more young people are going to want to feel like they belong in that space, and that space is equally theirs as it is anybody else's. Which, you know, like, it's for someone like myself who has never, you know, been on the receiving end of that. It took me having somebody really sit me down and like point out how it's something that's just happened over time, but it's not going to change unless we all actually get our shit together and actually want to see the change. There's a lot of festivals and promoters out there that will just claim that, like, we book bands on merit and we book bands for this reason and that reason, but that's bullshit. Because it's not about filling a quote, it's about giving an equal opportunity to any band to play these shows, or to, not just to play these shows, to be at a show.
Yeah, exactly.
There was so much. There was a time when every show I had somebody either reach out to me or send me an email, or I heard through someone else that something bad had happened to one of their friends or them at one of our shows, and it kind of that absolutely ripped me in half, feeling that because myself feeling so responsible that we've got all these people together in this space and somebody hasn't respected that space and they've done something that they shouldn't have, that's made somebody else's experience negative. That was what really pushed us to want to start speaking out about it, and we were stopping every single show and being like, what are you fucking doing? Actually calling people out. And now it's got to a point where those attitudes they know they're not welcome at our shows.
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of saying you're a bad person. It's a matter of saying, look, this is not okay. Think about what you've done. Think about what you're doing, and be better. That's the point that everyone's trying to make, is just to be better.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the nah, you'll be right, or just ignore it culture that's kind of got us to this position where guys come to shows and they feel like they own the space, and they feel like they, especially, you get the bro dudes who want to jump around and throw their beers in the air and crowd surf and kick and scream, and to me, every single person in that audience has the right to feel safe and comfortable in that environment, not just that one guy who thinks he's a fucking hero because he's crowd surfing the whole show. You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
You're the only person who thinks you're a fucking hero. Everyone else who thinks you're a dickhead.
Yes.
I think being aware of what you maybe allowances that you make for your friends or you make for people around you, even unwillingly, not knowing that you are making these allowances. If you see someone doing something stupid, you call it out. And at the end of the day, if people are doing this and people are constantly trying to push people to just be better and to stop and think about what they're doing, it'll eventually change, and there'll be a big shift, and everybody will eventually feel safe and comfortable coming to a show. Especially coming to a show alone, it breaks my heart that people don't feel safe going to shows, but I get it. I've seen it. I'm lucky enough to have a partner who is very outspoken about this sort of stuff. So I've had the right person kind of guiding me in the right direction of fuck, what can we do? What can we do to be better at this? And what can we do to make our spaces safer? And just making everybody feel like they deserve that space as much as the other person, whether it's stage, whether it's in the crowd, or whether it's walking down the street. Becoming aware that some people don't feel as comfortable and safe as you are, and there's probably a reason behind that, whether it's something that's happened to them at that show or in the past. It's something that'll resonate with someone forever if they have a bad experience at a show. And at the end of the day, music's meant to be something that makes everybody feel loved and safe and have somewhere to go. And when people aren't feeling that, it's heartbreaking. And I don't want to see that, and I don't ever want to see that at our shows, and I don't ever want to see that happening ever. And I think the fact these conversations have started is a really big positive step forward to where we need to be heading. And it's not just in music, it's in the entertainment industry, and it's in sports, everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a no tolerance policy anymore, and people are using their platform of the internet or whatnot to have these voices that forever have probably gone unheard, which is really important. And for us, it's the least we can do is do our best to ensure that everybody feels safe at our shows and in any space that we're occupying, and that we can help give some sort of to put bands on that people wouldn't usually maybe think that would play shows with us.
Yeah.
Or to give them not the opportunity, because that sounds like we're giving it to them for that reason. They are bands that fucking deserve it, just to show that there are fucking bands that are amazing that aren't being given that opportunity because of one reason or another.
Yeah. To me, it's the thing that still irks me now is, say, Block Party, for example, they got a new drummer who was a female. Panic at the Disco got a new bassist who's a female, but people will refer to them as, oh, Block Party's female drummer, or Panic at the Disco's female bassist. Is it? No, they're a drummer, they're a bassist, you dickheads.
There's no such thing as a girl band.
Yes.
It's a fucking band.
Exactly.
And in that, people use that. I don't see that. I see the music, but it's like, yeah, like, so do we. But, like, there is a big imbalance there, which is why there aren't, like, look how many amazing bands there are that aren't being given the same opportunities, because whether it's the internalized, like, misogyny or whatever you want to call it, like, that just exists in the music industry, exists in the world we live in, they're not given those same opportunities for that fucking reason.
Yeah. That's, well, dude, that is... It's so important that, as you said, like a band of two white straight dudes are actually making a point of this, because unfortunately it is the straight white dudes that get listened to more than anybody else. So it's very, very commendable, and it's very helpful for people like myself and readers of this website as well to kind of know in which direction to go. So now I'll segue back out of that, because you do have a new album coming out, and we were talking of that, and I don't want to leave you dry on the promotion side of that.
No, that's okay. Look, I'm happy to talk about whatever, man.
Okay, awesome.
Picture than just plugging our record.
Well, the war in Syria then is getting pretty. No, I have no idea about that whatsoever. Yes. How did you come about working with Sam? Obviously, he's worked with a lot of your friends. So, did you kind of just want to be in the cool group?
It had been something that we'd wanted to do for a while. Just from meeting Sammy and becoming buddies with him, we kind of instantly had that connection. That we knew he'd be the right person to work in the studio with. Alex and myself both run studios and make records in our own respective lives, and for us to go into the studio, it needs to be the right engineer producer that's going to complement us, rather than be like, this is what we want. Rather than coming into it and being like, all right, this is what we're doing. We wanted it to be like all three of us equal parts creating this product, and from meeting Sammy and like getting to know his nature just as a person, we knew that it was going to be the right fit. We're not the kind of band that needs a $1,000 a day producer to tell us how to put our songs together and to rewrite our music. That doesn't work for a band like us, So we just wanted a space, a studio that had all the right stuff to achieve what we wanted to, and an engineer who was as invested in the final product as we were. And it just so happened that it happened to be Sammy, and it makes sense why so many people that we also admire have records with Sammy before. So we went and did a single with him last year for Brain Drain, and that was kind of like, for us, like just testing the water, seeing how well we worked together, and we knew after the first day of recording with him then that we wanted to make the record with it.
Was there any intention of having Brain Drain on the album, or was that always just going to be its standalone self?
It was kind of always going to be standalone, I think. That song was actually demoed up as a part of the I Freak Out sessions. Like, we never recorded it then, but we had that in the bank. We weren't sure what to do with it, and we knew that it was going to be probably, like 2 years from I Freak Out that we were going to get the chance to actually release a full-length record.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense for us to go in and just try this one song with Sam. And put this song out. We weren't sure if we were going to re-record it or put it on this new album, but we ended up having the songs that we didn't think we needed it.
Yeah.
So it kind of stood on its own, and it's really cool that like we live in an age where you can just release one song and it doesn't matter. Like being the world that's like strictly digital and like streaming based, like you can release one song. Like there's bands that are huge and have been touring off the back of singles and have never released an album. Like
that's true. That's how it seems to be going. But yeah,
you can just release a song. Like you don't need an album. Like for us, like recording and releasing an album is like almost self-indulgent. You know, you want to put this whole package out rather than, all right, here's one song.
Yeah.
That's all we got. You know, like an album, you can weave in and out and like tell us a different story than just a single song. So yeah, I think Brain Drain like originally intended to be on this record, but by the time we got around to like putting this record together, we kind of moved past that a little bit. And now I'm glad that we didn't put it on there, and I'm glad it was a standalone song. Well, we didn't need it. I don't think the album's missing Brain Drain.
As I said to my girlfriend when I was looking through the track listing, I was like, well, good, they didn't put Brain Drain on. There's 12 new tracks, as they weren't being lazy bastards. So I was stoked about that.
There was actually, we recorded 14 in these sessions, and there's 2 that like didn't make it on the record that hopefully one day will come out on something else. But it's nice to be able to cull some songs that like I thought were maybe some of the strongest ones, but they didn't end up even making it on the record, which is it's a nice feeling.
Yeah,
to be able to do that, I think.
It's it would be. You know that you're kind of doing something right with your songwriting. If you have to get rid of one of the best ones. Speaking of songwriting, and before I let you go, I forgot to ask you this last time I interviewed you after Freak Out came out. Lyrics. Here's what scares me to death, being alone and being alone with you. And then what's next? Because to myself and my girlfriend it sounds like punching a duck, and it doesn't really sound like something you'd do.
In the lyrics of that song?
Yes.
So it's, here's what scares me to death. Heights in the dark. Height and the dark.
Height and the dark. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that makes more sense now, because it sounds just like, in context of the music, punching a duck, and I'm like, who'd do that?
So definitely, please don't punch a duck.
Yes.
I've had someone reach out to us on Facebook and say, I will literally punch a kangaroo to give me door spots to the show, and I just wrote back and said, do not do that.
Wow, that's not a good thing to do.
It was quite odd. It was like, I don't think you really understand. Like, you're talking about a band of vegans who like are very vocal about that, and you're trying to say you're gonna punch an animal. Like what? I don't get it. I get it. Something else, that was a weird one, though.
Yeah,
but
the world is made.
Maybe that's why. Maybe they also thought that I was all about punching animals.
Yeah, I mean, if you're down for punching a duck, why not a kangaroo?
Yeah, look, we don't condone any violence on animals. So.
Good. I'm glad. I'm very glad that we got that cleared up.
I'm sorry that you I spent all this time maybe thinking that I wasn't the person I am.
Yes, I really want to like this band, but this guy and his duck theories, I don't like them. All right, Ben. Well, I am going to wrap this up, but congratulations on the album. It's bloody brilliant, and I can't wait for the rest of the world to hear it.
I'm glad you like it.
Thank you, and we will be seeing you in Newcastle in a couple of weeks when you get here.
Excellent, man.
All right, take care, dude.
All right, see ya.
Bye.